Where's all my peeps? Yo, yo, big drink tea. Hey, Benton. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, these don't look very good. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. You guys like that? I'll put my headphones in. I don't think my speaker works. That's not really fun. What's up? What's up? Could you hear my song before? Do you like my new hairdo? I styled it myself today. Did you hear my song? It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. Like that? Well, now the next issue about traveling is the clutch fan, because clutch fan's not working. After my last live stream, I took the truck out for a spin, and to our diesel mechanic friend Sam, transmission's working great, but it is confirmed that the clutch fan still is not working. Probably needs more silicone oil put in. If that fails, then we have to order a new clutch fan, which is like impossible to source because they don't really make them anymore. And everywhere that says they're in stock and you called, it's back ordered. So yeah. The thing is like if we don't fix the clutch fan, then we run on the like warmer side, especially going up hills. It likes to like creep up to 210 degrees. Like 220 is the max of normal. But then once we go down the hill, it goes like back to midline basically. But yeah, it was hard to figure out how much silicone oil to put in. Like when I looked it up, it said to put in as much as fits, and it could be up to 60 milliliters. And the little bottles it comes in are 18 milliliter bottles. So that was not enough, even though Dimitri thinks that was enough. I put 2 more bottles, so a total of 3 bottles of silicone gel in there, and it probably can fit more because it wasn't like overflowing. So, ay. There's that. So did anything happen today? I don't think anything happened today for the end of the world. It's a big nothing burger as usual. Next, everybody's going to get all hyped up about 10-4. 10-4 over and out. Well, that's when they're supposed to do the national emergency alert to everybody's cell phone on 10-4. So, but yeah, it's interesting to see how many people are live streaming yesterday about the end of the world. But the peeps came out the same day I live streamed on Thursday. And I said I hadn't seen Dabu7 live stream in a long time, and he live streamed last night. Henry Hayes, Lupo Larry is his mod. And of course, tried to talk shit about me the moment I said something in Dabu7's chat. But that's because Hayes and Dabu7 are new butt buddies and neighbors. But whatever. That's cool. Everybody got to make that dough, right? So yeah, Benton just apologized. Thanks for the apology. Benton begged me to come onto his live stream this morning pretty much and dropped the StreamYard link about every 2 minutes while I was in the Word live chat asking me to come on. And I was arguing with people in the chat about, they get talking about the maritime law and, you don't need to register your car. And if you get pulled over, you just say you're a traveler and you don't need a driver's license or ID legally. And you just have to say these magic words and the cops will let you off. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. And then people were arguing with me that you don't need a license. They're trying to play word games. I'm like, that you don't need a license to practice medicine. That, and I'm like, well, and they're like, oh, practice. You're just practicing. Like, whatever. But all these people who are arguing with me use the healthcare system on a quite regular basis. But then they want to be hypocrites and say, oh, they got better. Their cancer was cured by a herbalist, or they did push-ups to cure their cancer. It's like, how did you even know you have cancer? How did you even get diagnosed with cancer? You went to a hospital where they had blood tests and x-rays and CT scans. And how was that ordered? Oh, it was ordered by a licensed practitioner. And to be able to practice medicine or at least make money in a career practicing medicine, you have to jump through the hoops and you have to play the game. You have to be licensed. You have to have a driver's license. You have to have a birth certificate. You have to have a license to practice medicine. You have to have a DEA license. And usually you have to be nationally certified for a job to hire you. The national certification's touch and go. But yeah, not most places will even hire you in private practice if you're not, I don't even think you can be hired if you're not licensed to practice medicine in the state, even a private practice. But people were arguing with me, like this one gal was saying that then she divulged that she was in the Air Force for 14 years and then did a medic to PA program at University of Washington or something. And then I'm asking her, I'm like, so, or did you actually practice as a PA? And she's like, yeah. But, then she started talking about her own medical problems, that she's in a wheelchair, that she had to get over fentanyl and morphine addiction. It's like, okay. And I'm like, so she was arguing with me that you can just practice medicine on your own, under the table without a license and help people. Like, all right, well, so if your neighbor from down the street knocks on your door and she tells you, asks you to, hey, can you check me out? And you get a history and physical, and she tells you she lost 15 pounds in the past month. She is easily bruising. She doesn't have an appetite. And then you feel her breasts and she has a 1 centimeter lump on her left breast. What are you going to do? Are you going to give her just some herbs? Because if you're not licensed, you can't order a mammogram. You can't order a CT scan. You can't order blood work. So what are you going to do? You're going to tell her looks like you probably have a breast cancer, or at least need to be checked out by people that can actually order scans and prescribe medicine. So you're going to have to go to the hospital or emergency room. So it's like this, yeah, you can give people medical advice from, down the street, but to actually do something, like you can't, I don't know, like there. So I asked her and she's like, oh, there's options. Her answer was, oh, there's options. I'm like, no, you didn't answer my question. What would you do if this lady knocked on your door and you found a lump in her breast and she's losing weight? She's like, oh, there's options. Like, see, you can't even answer my question. So, and like the moment I think I have a safe, Benson's like begging me to come on. And I finally called in. And, then Illumitami shows up, starts calling me names like this heckler bus guy is like starts calling me a see you next Tuesday because he's saying he cured his lung cancer by doing push-ups. I'm like, how'd you even know you had lung cancer? Come to find out, he goes to the hospital all the time, probably was inpatient for months getting treatment. It's like, you guys are like the biggest hypocrites ever, and they wouldn't let me talk. And then Benton starts chiming in about his mother being like, mistreated in the medical field, and that all doctors only are out there for the money, and there are zero good doctors. There's zero people in healthcare that actually care about the patient. All they care about is billing. And I'm like, that's not true. Like for my patients that were cash pay, I would underbill, and most of the doctors I work with would underbill, like code a 99214 instead of 99215, so they don't have to pay as much because they don't have insurance. So there are good doctors out there, but like Benton actually cut me out. Like he like silenced me over and over again, and then he just like X'd my screen, like booted me out of the conversations. Like these guys can't even have a conversation with somebody, with a woman that has intelligent things to say. They just want these like pick-me's that are like military shills that say that they're medical providers, but they're not. And then I have these people that I thought I had my back, like Salty Siren and stuff, like in the chat going, oh my gosh, I can't believe Aphrodite is defending the medical system. Like, you guys know I haven't worked since February 2020. So yeah, and I kept on saying, yeah, I know the medical system has changed since this happened. Like I know HIPAA has not been acknowledged since this happened. But, that's not to say there aren't good doctors, that there aren't good nurses, that there aren't good PAs that care about the patient and go above and beyond and undercharge and make sure like that they find access to care for their patients, different programs, different things. It's a bunch of BS. But it's like all these people just want to throw me under the bus for, like, yeah, you can give people advice on losing weight and eating healthy, but what if your kid gets hit by a car? Like, you're going to take your kid to the hospital. Benton's like, oh yeah, I'm like, if I broke a bone, I'm going to go. Okay, well, that's using the system. Like, we have to use the system. It's like the culture. And yeah, in America, we have the best medical care out of any part of the world. Anybody with any money around the world will come to America for their medical care. So it's just like all this hypocrisy. Hey guys, Miss McGee says, actually, you can say tubalcaine and they'll let you off the hook. Works every time. I don't know about that. In my eviction hearing, but I had already made a deal with the lawyer outside of the court, so it didn't really matter. Hi, Virginia dear, what's up? Big Drink Cheese says, send her a link from YouTube. Virginia says, let's crowdfund a CT scanner. Yeah, that was like what the Bex Factor, Bex, that new gal who's a stand-up comedian on these, at least she's been on Benton's channel. She's like, why doesn't everybody have access to CT scans? Why isn't this like a free service? I'm like, well, you can like order your own ultrasound machine for home use, but like it's not like these scans don't have risks. Like part of being a medical provider is you have to provide risk versus benefit. Like you can't get a bunch of CT scans every year because that radiation dose adds up. So it's not, you have to, and to get a CT scan, you usually have to get a blood test first. And how can you order that if you're not a licensed practitioner? You can't. Like you have to be licensed, and to be licensed to give healthcare and help people that way and to use that knowledge, yeah, you have to have a driver's license. Yeah, you have to have a medical license, and you have to renew that every 2 years. You have to renew your DEA license every 2 years. The DEA license is $880. The state license is like 400 something dollars, $600. And then you have your national certification that you also have to renew every 2 years and take a huge test every 7 years. But that's if you want to make money as a medical practitioner. Yeah, you can, I guess, treat people under the table, but what are you going to do? Like, if you can't prescribe medicine, you're going to, like, you can maybe recommend they go buy fish antibiotics from Walmart, but that doesn't always work. Like if you have a friend with a UTI, cranberry juice just don't work. Like for real UTIs, and then they develop pyelonephritis and like sepsis, but you just told them to drink cranberry juice because you can't actually prescribe antibiotics. Like, what kind of care is that? Like, there's a role for antibiotics, there's a role for CT scans. Yes, doctors abuse the system. Yes, doctors abuse patients, but that doesn't mean all doctors are bad. That doesn't mean all doctors are using the computer to tell, the diagnosis. Like the lazy doctors do. There's like, unethical surgeons, there's unethical cardiologists that order needless angiograms and but there's also, doesn't mean they're all bad. It's like this, like, but it's like these people will still use the medical system when they need to. Valentine, not one of you, says, it is. Have you hit the wall? Now you can enjoy cats. Men don't want you. Okay. No, men want women that don't argue. You're not it. Get a cat. I have a cat. Virginia Jarrett says, I am an amateur shaman. That's awesome. Adrian says, people don't want to listen to reason. Exactly. Pixel Pixie says, you were a physician assistant. I still am a physician assistant. All my licenses are up to date, and I can work at any time I want to. I just am not currently working. I haven't, and I understand rules have changed since this happened. Like just the other day, if you say, at least if you tell the doctor you think that you have this illness, they won't see you, at least here in North Carolina, which is for even another reason. If you have like an abrasion or something, they'll tell you have to go to the emergency room. They won't even see you if they think you have this, which is, you're not allowed to like deny care like that, at least before this happened. But now it's like all of the rules got thrown out the window. But it's a provider by provider thing. Like how much is the provider tied to a medical like a medical group or a hospital. Like the more tied a doctor is to like a medical institution, the more rules they have to follow. But that doesn't mean that there's still doctors that use like, non-malfeasance and beneficence and go by the old school way of like doing a history and physical and only ordering the tests that are needed, not just going directly to a CT scan because they don't want to think about things. Valentine says, she is a CNA, a PA. I'm a PA. PAC. Adrian says, I worked in medical billing. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And most mom and pop doctors underbill. Like the last doctor I worked for doing oncology, hematology in rural California, he underbilled everything. He'd like bill everything in 99213. And I'm like, this is a 99215, like every time. The amount of time we spend with patients talking about their problems, changing up their meds because of, diarrhea or chemotherapy complications. But he would underbill. A lot of doctors underbill. Most, like, if doctors are private practice, most of the time they're not good businessmen. They're good doctors, but they're not good businessmen. But then again, if your doctor's like heavily tied into like a medical group where it's like the hospital is his boss, and you have to like make an appointment through the hospital or through the medical group like Kaiser and stuff. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different bag. You know, when I worked at Kaiser, I was like finding all of these mistakes and undiagnosed cancer where they thought it was cancer of unknown origin. I was going through the chart and I found like old mammograms that had tumors in the breast, and I'm like, why isn't this being acknowledged? Why is the oncologist rounding on my patient every day and just saying she has a primary cancer of unknown origin? Have they even read the chart? Like, a lot of doctors in established medical facilities are lazy and are not doing what they should. But that doesn't mean all doctors are like that. You know, if you have a disease, if you have a problem, you should always get a second opinion. And that should be covered by insurance. And America is the type of place where you can't be denied care. So you can sign up for Medicaid programs for whatever state you're in. And, you know, basically a lot of people never pay. You know, if they can't pay, you know, they never pay. But they still get the care. You still get your bone fixed. You still get your cancer treated. It's just, you have to jump through certain hoops. That's not like other countries where you get kicked out on the street if you can't pay. They will kick you out on the street with the broken bone unfixed. Miss McGee says, there are people out there who morph into sycophants for whoever the current content creator is at the time. Yes, regardless of whether the creator wants that. I agree. Pixel Pixie says, I was at the local supermarket and there was a woman panhandling because she was a nurse who lost her job after C. Oh, that's sad. I'm sure she got lots of bucks. Depending on the state, I think you can get hired now. It's easier to get hired again. So hopefully she can find work. Valentine says, they don't see the Mandela effect. They are liars. Virginia says, we have the best urgent care. Yeah. I don't know. It does vary state by state. I've noticed here in North Carolina, the care is not as good as California. California has excellent medical care, even for the homeless. Like I was operating on homeless people and taking them back for second surgeries, third surgeries, and you just write it off. You don't like, you know, the fact that, you know, Benton was saying it's all about medical billing first. It's all about medical billing first. It's like, no, it's not. No, maybe for some doctors, yes, but not every doctor, not every medical provider. Most medical providers, especially like PAs and nurses, went into it wanting to help people, not like thinking they're going to make big bucks. If they wanted to make big bucks, they would have probably stuck it out and gone to medical school and become like a radiologist or something like that, where you don't even deal with patients. You just look at a computer all day. Valentine says they'll go to Chickadee Chinese Chicken. Okay. I'm sure you'll get great medical care there. Mr. McGee says, only kidding about tubalcaine. Yeah. Valentine says, read my comment. Read about the wall, about the cats. Okay. Valentine says, tubalcaine, tubal ligation. No, it's more like two balls and a cane, like a cock and balls, not tubal ligation. Big Drink Tea says 88. Valentine says, renew for who? Prescribe bullets, prescribe oxy and lead. You can't really prescribe oxy anymore. You haven't been able to prescribe that for a long time. Virginia, the most you can prescribe these days for painkillers, like off the bat, is like a Norco 10. Unless they're a cancer patient, then you can prescribe like MS Contin or methadone, but methadone's usually for people trying to get off opiates. And then there's the fentanyl patches for people that are really have like long-term chronic pain. But the days of Percocets and Oxycontin, those have been long over. Virginia says methylene blue works for UTI. I have never heard that before. Methylene blue, like taking it as a pill or like a droplet in your mouth. or putting it downstairs. Like, I don't understand how that would work. Yeah, Valentine says it's just a dye. Yeah, just a dye. I think you use it for diagnosing corneal abrasions on your cornea, but I'm not sure about that. Pixel Pixie says, "What if you started a practice and owned it, but hired licensed doctors and LPs?" I could, I could start my own private practice as a PA and hire doctors to work for me, but I would also have to have I still have to have a doctor as my supervising physician. And what that means is they have to co-sign like 15% of my Medicare charts, and be available by telephone if if something's over my scope, if I don't understand something, or if I need more advanced help. I legally have to have a doctor I can refer to. That's part of being having a supervised physician. People think, oh, having a supervised physician means that you have to have a doctor there watching you, or the doctor has to see all your patients too. And it's no, you can still practice independently. The doctor just has to review like 15% or 5% of your Medicare charts, and just co-sign it, and be reachable by telephone. So a lot of PAs will be in a facility by themselves with no doctor on site, and like there'll never be a doctor on site. The doctor just co-signs the charts online, or either they get sent the paper charts to co-sign, and then they're just reachable by telephone if the PA ever needs to ask a question. But I think those rules even might have changed after this to be in some states for the PAs to be able to practice more independently. I'm not quite sure though, because I haven't worked since February 2020. Adrian says, "You're spot on, thanks." Adrian says, "Good docs are far and few between." Yeah, a lot of things got messed up in the last 3 years, and a lot of good people, I think, got pushed out. But I know there's a desperate need for healthcare providers, so I'm sure the regulations will be changing to facilitate those people being hired again. At least we'll hope. Has anything happened today? I don't think anything's happened today. 9:23. Valentine's. Damn it, one cat. Yeah, his name is Sammy. He's orange. Big Drink Tea says, "So far the dude's still in the picture." Excuse me. Valentine says, "Now I feel bad trolling. Good thing I have a personality trait there. I'm good. The dude is a beta. Will be in the picture until she finds a replacement or crashes out with 50% of his bank." I don't know what you're talking about. Pixel Pixie says, "I wouldn't be alive if it were not for medical help. I didn't mean like we're, but I can't believe people are so anti-medical. I don't trust it all, but I have good doctors." Well, that's good. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's a spectrum. Yeah, there's some people that overuse medical care and think like going to the doctor is going to solve all their problems. But and then there's people that never want to go have medical care. But usually those people, if they get in a car accident, they'll go to the hospital. Or if they break a bone, they'll go to the hospital. Or there's a threshold of when you hold out. And all these pregnant ladies who want to do home births, bless their hearts or whatever. And then, it gets a little dicey and they call 911 and go to the hospital and have an emergency C-section, which is not that, but, it's easy to say, oh, all medical care is bad, but it's like those people are still going to use the system when they need it, when they have an emergency. Those people are calling 911. Adrian says, "I worked in the hospital though. It was so out of control." Valentine says, "Pixel, your faith is misplaced." CWL, hello, says, "For a year I've been having many strokes and I've had a couple of mild strokes and I have insurance, but I can't the doctors to get the test and to show why I'm having these strokes. Oh my gosh, well, you need to have your heart checked to make sure you don't have like an atrial fibrillation. And that would be like either a Holter monitor or an echocardiogram. And you should be on some type of blood thinners. If you're not on a blood thinner, I would, yeah, like Valentine says, take a baby aspirin every day. That's something that you can take and just buy at the drugstore. Either an 81 milligram aspirin or a 325 aspirin, unless you have some kind of bleeding problem. If you have some kind of bleeding disorder or you bruise easily or something like that, just take the baby aspirin. But another way to circumvent if your primary care doctor is not listening to you, you can always go to an emergency room that's either the next town over or the hospital in your area. Go to the emergency room and tell them you're having dizzy spells or you're passing out and that you have a history of strokes, and they'll start the workup there. They should, at least. Pixel Pixie says, you're so smart. I hope you go back into a field where you can help and make a difference. Thanks. Thank you. Well, I probably will here pretty soon. Big Drink Tea says, let's talk about that boat. Was that yours? The boat I was on was my mom and my stepdad's. They have a little ski boat. Valentine says, not in Russia, you will not. The MDs will treat you even if you are homeless. In Russia, that's pretty cool. Valentine says, I went into nursing for money. Okay, cool. Yeah, nurses make a lot of money, especially if you're like a surgical nurse or work like on the cardiac team or like in the cath lab. Nurses make bank, especially in California. The nursing union is so strong. It's why like a lot of places, because a physician assistant, a PA like I am, and a nurse practitioner, we're pretty much exactly the same, both master's degree level healthcare providers that can pretty much practice independently. In California, most places will hire a nurse practitioner over a PA for the same position because the nursing union is so strong. F96 says, you will die in 5 minutes. That's not nice. Adrian says, yeah, 007. Two-ball cane. Valentine says, China P2P network. B2B, damn it. Okay. Pixel says, Valentine, I didn't mention my faith. I believe in God, and ultimately that's why I am here. But talented doctor did intervene and help. Good. And if you're like seeking medical care and you're getting bad vibes from your doctor, you don't think your doctor is listening to you or your PA is not listening to you, go get a second opinion. You can ask for your medical records because you're entitled to a copy of all your medical records. That's your property. That's not the doctor's property, is your medical records. So all of the notes, a copy of all the blood tests, a copy of all the scans, like x-rays, CT scans, ultrasounds. You can ask for copies of all of that. And it's not like weird. Like everybody, like you can do that. It's normal to do that. And then you have your own personal copies and you can go get second opinions. And if you have health insurance, usually insurance will cover second opinions for, if you have a serious diagnosis or if you're, might have some kind of cancer or autoimmune disease or something like that. Valentine says, Pixel, exactly. God Almighty, Jesus is the healer who healed you. Okay. Uncle Teddy says, over your scope, you believe the earth is flat and all of their nonsense. I don't think any doctor would ever work with you. Okay. Well, you're wrong. Fetty says chicken nugget. Thanks, Fetty. Valentine says, I don't remember. I don't even remember now why I disliked her in the first place. Okay. Get chalked up says, Narc lining up his next supply. Fishing got simps live stream. Okay, I don't even know what that means, but all right. Yeah, you're a simp. Valentine's is aspirin 81, 325 is kind of high, but she's exactly right. Okay. Eyes of the Idols, hello. Says, girlfriend wants kids and I don't. I don't like this whirlpool and I'm lucky to be me and have gotten this far. Having kids seems like a huge gamble. This place is sick. Well, if you're a man, you can always hopefully decide to have kids anytime in your life. So you might change your mind someday. Um, yeah. Get Chalked Up says Afro taking applications for the next indentured servant must be able to turn a wrench, apply within. Okay. You're so funny, Drew. Um, Valentine says in Russia they take like 30% plus of your income for taxes, which is what pays for the health care. How do I know I have family living there now? Well, here in America, they take like 50% of your income, like literally like 50%. And then you have, if you have own a property, you have a property tax. If you own a car, you have to have your car registered and smogged every year. That's a tax. You have to have insurance on your car. That's a tax. So basically, Americans are taxed like 60 to 70% of their income just to have our finer things. Hi, Random. Random says, what's going on? Oh, Adrian says, get chalked up. You're just an ass. Yes, thank you, Adrian. I concur. I concur. Get chalked up thinks he's pretty funny. No, you're not. Valentine says, Afro women don't want average men anymore, so kids and family is not likely. I don't know. What is an average man? Tell me what an average man is. Adrian says, no, you're a douche. Pixel Pixie says, are there still strict mandates to work in your field? Can you work for a private practice? I think most of the mandates have been lifted. At least in California. I don't know about other states. But like I said, there's been such a flux in providers over the last 3 years that I think they're desperate for any provider that can work or that wants to work. I know the people that did stay and follow the rules of what was, suddenly required of them, a lot of those people got burned out and left the field or got sick and left the field. So yeah, I think, I don't even know what the percentage of people entering medical school is now or entering PA school, but I would think it dramatically dropped off with people not being able to work. And then, people, to go to grad school, medical school, it's a lot of money. And I don't know how banks are loaning student loans these days, but when I went to medical school, my student loans were at like 8.5%, like super ridiculous amount of interest charge. I don't know what the rates are now, but it's a consideration when you're deciding on whether or not you want to practice medicine. Pixel says, okay. Drew says, OMG, it's the woman with the red dress from the Matrix. Yeah. Woo. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. You guys like my new haircut? I don't have the one blonde curl anymore. Got it cut. I'm hoping it grow faster. They say once you cut your hair, it grows faster. I have no idea how that works. I still haven't figured it out. But yeah, it's the first time I got a haircut since I shaved my head. Last time I shaved my head was before starting my last job in like April 2019, because it wasn't a good look continuing to shave your head while you treat cancer patients doing chemotherapy. So, Yeah, that was the last time I ever cut my hair until yesterday. So I'm digging it. It's nice to have like a normal kind of style again. You can see it more. There it goes. I styled it myself today, so yeah. Valentine says, I concur. Valentine says, not 6.1 tall, six-figure income. Yes. Pixel Pixie says, OMG, I'm so happy to hear that. Good. Juice says, prediction, Afro will return to work due to poverty, then get face fillers, Botox, lip injections, and fake TTs. Screenshot this, I guarantee. Why would I do all of that? Yeah, I'm never getting face fillers or lip injections. That's just like, yeah, let me inject a neurotoxin directly into my skull. Yeah, I have a strong theory that Botox leads to early Alzheimer's. I mean, you're like actually the reason Botox, works for your wrinkles is that you're injecting a neurotoxin into the nerves, your facial nerves, so that you don't use the muscles anymore, so you don't create wrinkles. Thank you, Valentine. $5. Thank you. That's so sweet. Thanks. Thanks for commenting too. Hygiene clean. How can you look up a surgeon's history? Well, you can. Probably the first place would go maybe go to maybe Yelp and see if anybody left bad reviews. You can look see if your doctor's on LinkedIn. Usually is like a medical resume, and they'll give it to you. A lot of times if the doctor has a website, they have their CV, which is curriculum vitae, which is like a resume. They'll have that online. You can, if they're like they should be a board certified surgeon. And I think you can contact the board, depending on what type of surgeon they are. There's thoracic surgery, there's vascular surgery, there's orthopedic surgery. You can contact the board and see if there's been any complaints or restrictions on their license, something like that. But probably the best way to get information, I think, would be by going through some kind of customer reviews and seeing if people have reported, bad interactions on Yelp or maybe Facebook. I would start just Googling their name and the place where they practice and see if anything pops up of people complaining about that doctor. But then, yeah, next look, I get LinkedIn. You can actually request directly from the doctor their CV, their resume. Yeah, you can also contact the state medical licensing board that you're in and see if there's been any restrictions on their license over the years. And I think they're legally allowed to tell you that. You can look up your doctor or, any licensed healthcare practitioner in that state, the state board of licensing, online and see if they're active, if they have an active license. I don't know if it will pull up any complaints or anything like that. But that's what I would do. Yeah. Valentine says, yes, sing it. Big T says, let's see them ankles. Woo. Adrian says, it's a cute haircut. My daughter's cutting mine tomorrow. Oh, awesome. Are you getting just a trim, or like a whole new style. That's funny because my mom just asked me to trim her hair today. I haven't done it yet though. Pixel says, "You look great. Thanks." Adrian says, "Makes you feel good. Awesome." Valentine says, "Oh my God, you are Alice. Alice in Wonderland." I have shared the story before, probably buried in some live stream, but I have an Alice in Wonderland story where I like switched dimensions in San Francisco during it was Halloween night, and I went out on the town dressed as Alice in Wonderland, and I was looking damn hot. But I'll save that for another day. I ended up in this like back room of a club where we like went through these like secret doorways and through a kitchen and then like another door, and then there was like this lounge with all of the men. That was like all men, and some girl told me, "Don't take the drinks, don't take the drinks." And we walk in, it's me and my friend Abby, and she was dressed as a Playboy bunny with like bunny ears. It's like later, and you're like, wow, I had a bunny and I was Alice. And we walk into this back room, and it's like a lounge, and like there was all these like Sikhs, men like from the Middle East that had like the white headdress with like the band, like I think they're called Sikhs. How the royal, like it was like the royal family from Saudi Arabia or Dubai or whatever. They were all there was like 20 of them, and they were all dressed like that. I'm like, this is not a Halloween costume. And they all had like drinks, and they were like, here, have a drink, have a drink. That was already poured. Like they look like whiskey on the rocks. I'm like, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. And I'm like, Abby, we need to get out of here. And then some more stuff happened. Get Chalked Up says, simp season is here. Let them super chats fly, boys. I know you're jealous. Pixel Pixie says, Botox helps with stress and depression like nothing I have ever had before. The first time I had it, my entire vibe changed. It was like all this stress was lifted off of me. Okay. Yeah, I know it's a good treatment for migraines for people who've struggled. I don't know why no one talks about it more. I don't know, but after a while, I think it makes your face look weird. But I had a huge fringe benefit from getting my glabellar lines treated. Yeah, usually the Botox for migraines is like they go deep in the trigeminal nerve, whereas like Botox for wrinkles, they just go kind of in the like more superficially, like in the dermis, and kind of just go around the nerves instead of going inside the nerve. But yeah, I'm glad that worked for you. Oh, that's funny because I just saw a commercial for peanut butter, and it was like in a squeezer, like almost toothpaste, and it said stress free peanut butter. I guess so you don't have to like scoop it. It's stress free because you can just squeeze it onto your bread. But I'm like, ew, like if it has to be that runny to squeeze it out like in a little toothpaste, they have to add all kinds of more chemicals to make it, less thick. And then the fact they put stress free, I'm like, oh, there's probably like anesthesia meds in that peanut butter. Like they're telling you without telling you, like, hey, if you have this kind of peanut butter, you'll be stress free. Valentine says, that failed. Pixel says, I like the hair. It reminds me of the 30s. Oh, cool. Thanks. Pixel says, whoa. Thanks, Valentine. Pixel says, haha, I just outed that I've had Botox. That's okay. That's okay, girl. Valentine says, no, Alice from Resident Evil. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's kind of like her hairstyle, like Mila Jovovich. I'm probably not saying that right. She's also the Fifth Element. So it's kind of like the Fifth Element color. She's way more hot, but you are Alice. Okay, thanks. Oh my God, Sheila, read it too late. Hugh Jazz says, am I banned? No, I don't think I have anybody banned. Valentine says, yes. Hugh says, it's noise. Valentine, Hugh, if I am not, you are the most certainly not banned. Hi, Love, Learn, and Grow. What's up? Love, Learn, and Grow says, blessings, sis. Thanks for joining. Oh, thanks, Valentine. Wow. Adrian says, you found your calling again. You've come full circle. If you keep going, any patients feel lucky to have you. Yeah, like I thank you. Um, like I mean, I go above and beyond for my patients. You know, like I'll stay late. I'll make sure all my charts are tied up. Like, but my thing is that I hated, I couldn't chart while I saw the patient. Like I'd rather do it old school and like talk face to face with the patient and just write down notes, and then I'd side table writing the note in the computer until like the end of the day. So I was like always running behind because that's like I would be done seeing the patients and then put in all their orders and everything. But then I had to write the note because I wasn't the type of person that tried to write the note while I'm seeing the patient, because that just like lowers the standard of care so much and it's so impersonal. And the patients feel it. Like like the last job I was at was people going through chemotherapy, like people just diagnosed with breast cancer or thyroid cancer or like lymphoma or, just like really tough stuff. And, I don't need to be looking at a computer screen while they're sitting there, about to have their breast examined and stuff and talking about their diarrhea and vomiting. Like, I'm going to have eye contact and I'll jot down an occasional note with a pen and paper and I'll go write my note on the computer later. Like, so yeah, but it is really draining. It does take a lot out of you to give that all day to like 20 patients a day. So that, I've definitely needed breaks usually between jobs to kind of recharge. Hugh says, is it red shirt day? Squeeze it out. Sounds slightly ironic. Valentine, thank you for $10. That's awesome. Valentine says, well, this time I won't skip the message box. The average man, us, who don't make six figures money, not 6.1 plus height, aren't hashtag funny and etc. We don't get to have a family. Red pill manosphere hits all. I'm sorry you have that experience. I think anybody can have a family if they want to. Sometimes it takes like moving to a new place and kind of involving yourself with a new group of people, and just putting yourself out there. Yeah, because different parts of the country are really different in culture and how people act towards each other. Yeah. I think there's somebody out there for everybody if you're open to it, but you can't like approach it like, oh, nobody loves me, like have this Eeyore mentality, like, oh, there's no point even trying. I feel like there's a lot of men these days that are already like shooting themselves in the foot before they even try. Like part of being masculine is being that forward momentum. Like it's the arrow, not the circle, right? The circle is the female, the circle is receptive. The man's the positive force, the like, you know, carpe diem, like seize the day. So like the man needs to make the effort to make the phone calls, to send the text message, to ask the girl out. And I think, real women are receptive to that and appreciate when a man like asks you out. Like that's like, woo, somebody did that. Finally. Like it's refreshing. It's not like, a man that's waiting around for a girl to like make the first move. But I think a lot of men these days are like so discouraged, or they're so just feel like it's not worth it because they've been rejected a few times, or have only gone halfway. It's like there's plenty of fish in the sea, but you have to keep casting. You can't just like cast once and then just give up because nothing bit. Like don't give up. I think a lot of like if the woman's right for you, like she'll be receptive to it, and if she's not, then it wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. Pixel Pixie says, I like real peanut butter with lots of oil on top. I never felt stressed about making a PB&J sandwich. That's awesome. Valentine says, yes, Mila. Eyes of the Idol says, you poop is on BS right now. You poop is on, okay, I don't know what that means, you poop. Oh, you poop is on, like YouTube is on. I don't know what you're trying to say, Eyes of the Idol. Pixel Pixie says, you are exactly where you are supposed to be in life after you are in a good place. Everything will work out. Yeah, I believe that. Thank you. Like, it's like in a way our script is already written, and I try not to like plan too much ahead anymore. Everything that's meant to be will happen. Things fall into place the way it's supposed to be, and we're like presented with challenges along the way to overcome them. But all in all, like, we're protected. Like, all in all, we're outside of this realm because, like, we can conceive of it. The fact that we can conceive of our consciousness being outside of this simultaneously means that it is like, if you believe in like parallel universes or like quantum, like a quantum computer will to run all of the possibilities to like the infinite degree. So all of those possibilities exist. Valentine says, Aphrodite, the messages I sent only sound reasonable when you can hear your own audio. Okay, well, I'll probably watch this back tomorrow. Valentine says, I'm not ugly either, LOL. You don't look ugly from the teeny tiny thumbnail I see. He says, can I volunteer to help with the breast exam? There's a certain technique that you're not a groper. So, yeah, that would have to be a patient by patient basis of asking permission. But male medical providers, no matter doctor, PA, if you're a male examining a woman's breast, you always have to have another medical provider woman in the room. Same with pelvic exams. So you have to have like it's usually like a medical assistant or a nurse that works in the office that's a woman, but she has to be in the room while the male health practitioner examines the woman's breasts and or pelvic region. If you're in a situation as a woman patient and there's a male provider and he's by himself and he wants to do a breast exam or examine your downstairs area, there's something off with that. There should always be another woman in the room. Though it's not the same for women examining males. It's usually good always to have another person in the room when you do that, but it's not the same rules. Valentine says, I'm bitter. I am not good enough. Sure you are. That's how we end up in jail. Oh. Don't avoid the popo. Big Drink Tea says, MGTOW is the future. And gosh, I hope not. Hugh Jazz says, YOLO. Valentine says, that was true 40s to 60s. Now you go to jail. MGTOW. We go to jail for what? Hugh Jazz says, hey, red shirt, want to go out? You talking to me? Big Drink Tea says, 6 years strong. Valentine says, today, if you cast wrong, you go to jail. Because if she's not interested, you go, that's not true. No woman is going to send you to jail for asking her out. That's what would be the charge. If you keep asking her out like every day, I guess she could say you're harassing her, but That's not reality. Valentine says, Hugh, unless you are 6.1, have 1 million, don't ask. She may claim you harassed her. See, if that's the attitude, yeah, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. Um, like if you go up and touch a woman inappropriately, yeah, that's not cool. But if you walk up to a woman and say, "Oh, I think you look really nice today. Can I have your number?" I don't think, a woman might say like, "Ew, get away," and then go away. But if you stay there and like act weird, I mean, that might be harassment. But I think most women feel it's refreshing if a guy has enough balls to come up and approach you. Mr. McGee says, Valentine, that's kind of a ridiculous exaggeration. Yeah, exactly. Adrian says, yeah, our script is written. We're just walking the line of yin and yang for sure. Mr. McGee says, come on. Valentine says, no parallel, no plasma fires, and now I remember, hee hee. Valentine says, Mr. I have been, Hugh Joss says, can I examine each individual in the exam room? Valentine says, Mr. 3 times married, divorced, I kind of figured out what is what. Did your 3 ex-wives have the same complaints? If they do, then you might have something to work on. Mr. Islam says, you looking so stylish, but little shy. Thank you, Mr. Islam. Valentine says, you can examine me. Haha. Mr. Islam says, don't be shy. Speak comfortable. Okay. Then he says, God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Islam. Sending you love, Mr. Islam. Mr. McGee says, yeah, but guys aren't really going to go to jail for making advances, non-physical. Haha. Yeah, I think cops kind of have their hands full with other things than trying to prosecute or arrest some guy asking a girl out. Now, if you're like hanging out outside of her house and like knocking on her door, that's a whole other level of stalkerishness. But approaching a stranger and saying like complimenting her and asking, hey, would you like to grab a coffee sometime? Like, I think most women would appreciate that. That's like top-notch masculine energy. Valentine says, if you ask a lady who is not interested, that is enough to be put in jail because that's not true. It's not harassment. Eyes of the Idol says, YouTube is on bullshit right now. Sorry. Okay, I don't really know what that means. YouTube is on bullshit. Valentine says, no touching, just hi, I'm V, want to have a coffee? Yeah, that you can't be arrested for asking somebody that. Hadrian says, LOL. Valentine says, 1, yes. 2, left for her high school sweetheart. 3, I left. Oh, but were there common complaints is what I'm asking. Hugh Joss says, did I tell you how nice you look today, red shirt? Thank you. It's a red dress, though. It's a red dress. Eyes of the Idol says, red pill hosts, I'll admit they have no real relationship experience. Most are incels or contract liars who lead thousands of younger people into misogyny and hate. The weak profit off of the spineless. Yes, 100% hit the nail on the head, Eyes of the Idols. It's these guys that maybe have been rejected once and just have given up, like have no willpower to, like that's what's missing is like the actual masculine, like it brushes off of them and they try again or they try with another person. Like, it's going out there and having some balls. But yeah, the incel, like, yeah, that whole thing, it's really sad, and it's a total psyop so that men and women don't get together and have meaningful relationships, probably as a form of like reducing population, where the people with the knowledge will still procreate and have babies. And Adrian says, that's only dirty ass deceiving women, Valentine. Valentine says, yes, I am a hard-headed jerk. Haha, hard-headed jerk. Hugh Jess says, hey, Red Dress, what up? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Miss McGee says, Nick Fuentes did a number on MGTOW Red Pillars. Who is Nick Fuentes? I don't usually watch these younger streamers that talk about incels and stuff. But yeah, I think that might be all I got for you guys today. Has anything happened yet? Has any world-ending events? Woo! I'm in the office storage closet. Look, organization. Organization. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice? Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to peace out. Peace. Thanks for joining. Love thy neighbor.